Hey everyone, welcome to another video. In this video I'm gonna be shopping my stash for the month of April, and I'm also gonna be reflecting on the stuff that I used in the month of March. So let's get right into the video. So if you haven't been on my channel before, my name is Marley and I love making YouTube videos about makeup and beauty. I love doing looks, swatches, reviews, will I buy it video. I like to shop my stash. I also do a project pan now. So if that sounds good to you, then don't forget to subscribe. I usually upload about 2 to 3 videos a week, and I would love to see you again on my channel. So we have a lot of makeup to go through, a lot of things to talk about, and first we're gonna start with what I used for the month of March. I have to say this month I was a little bit overwhelmed. I had a lot of things to test out. I also had my project pan. I picked out quite a lot of things for this shop my stash, so I didn't use everything a lot. Some things I used more than others. Most things I only used once. There's just a lot of makeup I want to use in a month, and even though I really would like to focus on these things more, I feel like right now I can't really do that. So that's kind of where I'm at with my shop my stash right now. I do really like picking out these products. I do like using them, but to be completely realistic, I'm not going to be using them a lot. So let's start with the highlighters that I picked out. I picked out 3 highlighters. One of the highlighters that I picked I actually used quite a lot of times, and that is the Kiko Ocean Feel Virtuous Golden Rose highlighter. This is a very nice baked highlighter. On the skin it's a little bit rosy, but you definitely have a golden sheen. Really love using this. I grabbed for this quite a lot of times. This is one of my favorites in my collection, and when I have this in my shop my stash, I definitely use it a couple of times. And also when the weather is very nice, it's really sunny, I really feel like using this one. Then I also picked out the Master Grow Maybelline Molten Rose Gold highlighter. This is a bit of a peachy highlight. It's a bit more powdery, I feel like. It doesn't look extremely beaming on the skin. I think I used this one once or twice. Quite like it. It's not my absolute favorite. It's also not my absolute favorite for like a glowy blush or like a blush topper, but I do enjoy it enough to use it like once in a while. I like it. Next up I chose the Clinique Flower Pop highlighter. This is a Baked Gelée formula. It's kind of like a champagne with a peachy pink undertone. Really love using this one. It really has a nice natural effect on the skin, very flattering. I used this a couple of times. I still feel like I could have used this one more, but I'm really focusing on my project pen highlighters as well right now, so that's why I only used it like a couple of times. I also picked out this highlighter by Colourpop. This one I picked out to see if I liked it, to see if I want to keep this in my collection, because it's kind of like a so-so product. I don't really feel inspired to use this. When I wear it, I'm not in love with it, and I just never feel like grabbing for it. And so I used this, and I'm still a little bit on the fence about it. Like, when I first applied it, I didn't love it. I didn't love how it looked, but then I looked at it in a little bit more low light, and then I really loved the effect it gave. So I feel like I will end up decluttering this one, but I don't think I'm ready just yet. I don't know if the effect that it gave when I saw it in a little bit of different lighting will be enough for me to grab it. It's like an okay product in my collection. I'm a little bit on the fence about it. Probably I should just declutter it, but sometimes it's really easy for me to get rid of products, but it also happens that I hold on to products a little bit too long. I'm just not sure about this just yet. Another product that I put in because I wanted to know how I felt about it is this blush lighter by Essence. This is in the shade Cassis Sunburst. So we have a matte blush side and then we have a highlighter. Now I didn't really know how I felt about it because when I first used it, I could definitely tell that there were like glitters on my cheek, like shimmers that were kind of chunky. You could definitely see them when I applied this. Now when I used it this time, I don't feel like I really saw it, and that could be because it has a little bit of an overspray with more chunky shimmers, and that I'm past that now. What I still don't love about this blush lighter is that this is definitely a highlighter shade, and what I like with blush lighters is when the shimmer or the shine is actually the color of the blush, or at least is a little bit warmer or a little bit darker, like a gold. I could like champagne maybe, but I just feel like this highlighter side is a little bit too icy and cool toned to really work for me as a blush. I don't love it. It really looks like I'm wearing highlight, literal highlight on my cheeks. Even if it has that more blushy base, like the color of the blush is the base and then this shimmer is on top of that, I feel like it's too bright and icy to be a blush. I just want that glow to be the actual color of blush, not when I turn my head that you see highlights. I feel like there are so many good glowy blushes out there and this one isn't my favorite. So probably I will end up decluttering this at some point, but right now I don't like hate it enough to do that. Maybe I will try this highlighter side as really a highlighter. Maybe I will like it like that. I'm a little bit so about this product. It's like okay, it definitely isn't a favorite. Then another glowy blush that I chose out is this one in Feeling Like a Snack from Sleek. I really actually like this one. It's like a peachy pink. It's more like a coral and it has definitely like a golden glow. It's a really nice warm toned glowy blush. I like it. The first time I tried it I was like, maybe it's a little bit too pigmented, but I feel like I can definitely work with this one, and I think I will put it back in my Shop My Stash when I'm actually a little bit more tan, and I feel like I will really like it then. Then I also chose this blush. This is like the cool tone version of that other Sleek blush. This one is in the shade Mirrored Pink. This one isn't available anymore. This was a limited edition. I don't know what the name was of this collection anymore, but it was like a limited edition collection with a palette that I had, but I decluttered that a long time ago. I don't know if I should keep this one in my collection. It's getting pretty old and it's a really cool toned pink shade, and I don't know if I love that anymore. I don't know, maybe I would like something that is a little bit softer pink, but then when I wear it I'm like, it doesn't look that cool toned. It looks different on my cheeks than it does in the pan, definitely. It looks more natural on my cheeks, but then when I look at it in the pan I never really feel like using it, and maybe it's just a little bit too old. When products get really old in my collection, at some point I'm just like not inclined to reach for them anymore. So I used to really love this. It used to be a favorite. I like it when I apply it, but I don't know if I should keep this, especially because I bought a lot of really nice glowy blushes in the past month or 2 months, and I don't know if I still need this, if I still want this. A little bit on the fence about it. It's just so hard to let go of a product that used to be a favorite. So let's move on to the lip products. The theme of this Shop My Stash, like the best Shop My Stash, was more nude looks, like more nude eyeshadow looks, and then more bright lipsticks, like focusing more on the lip colors and trying to wear more bright lipsticks, because sometimes I'm just a bit lazy and I just throw on a nude and then I'm like, I'm done. And then I kind of forget about all the colorful lipsticks in my collection. So I chose out 5 quite colorful colors. I chose out the shade 57, a really nice pink shade. I also chose out the shade 41. I really liked wearing this one. This one becomes quite a red shade on my lips, like a little bit of a toned down red, and I really like how that looks. Then the shade 25 is like a burnt orange and it's quite dark. It has some brown in there. Really loved wearing this one. I will put up a picture wearing this one, and this is just really one of my favorite reds. I don't know if you would really classify this as a red. It's like, it has like red but also brown and a little bit of orange in there. It's a really interesting color, but this is one of my favorite liquid lipsticks in my collection. I really love this one. Then this one in the shade 38 from the Sephora collection. I didn't end up wearing this one. I think it's just a little bit too dark for what I'm into right now. It's like we're getting into spring and I'm more into a little bit lighter colors. Like this gets quite vampy on me, so I didn't end up wearing this one. This is the only thing in my Shop My Stash that I didn't wear, and that's just what happens sometimes. I didn't really end up creating a look that I felt this looked good with, or that I wanted to wear this with, so yeah, it happens sometimes. Then this lipstick, this liquid lipstick, I just don't really know how I feel about this. I gave this quite a good review. This is the Nabla Dreamy Creamy liquid lipstick in the shade Vicious, and I really like this formula, and I told you that I quite like this lipstick. I felt like it worked quite well with this color, but you just had to pat it down a little bit. But when I wore this one, I felt like it started bleeding out of my lip lines like really fast. It didn't take a lot of talking or eating or drinking for it to look pretty bad. So I don't know if I love this one. Like the more I use this, the more I feel like it isn't really wearable for me. I don't know. I feel like I'm beginning to like this one less and less. I don't know what it is, because I don't have like really wrinkly lips, or I don't really have this problem a lot. I don't usually experience bleeding out of my lip line, so I don't know what is going on with this one, but I feel like it's kind of becoming unwearable for me. Like if it bleeds so fast, I can't really wear it for anything. Also, when I wear this in like a video, I feel like it looks bad really fast. So I don't know if this is really like working for me anymore. I liked it, but then I tried it more and now I don't know. Now let's get on to the eyeshadow. Especially with the eyeshadow, I felt pretty overwhelmed this past month. I had a lot of other eyeshadows to try. So some of these I used more, some of these I used less. First up, this palette that I chose out with the singles. This palette I built myself and I have a video up on my channel where I talk about this palette. I was thinking about doing a look with this one and using the blues and the yellows together, but I didn't end up doing that. I just didn't feel like there was the right time or the right date to do that, and maybe I like this color story more like in the palette than on my eyes. I don't really see myself wearing this. I really like looking at it, but I don't know if this is really like a color combination that I would easily wear. I don't know, maybe I should just try it sometimes, but I didn't really feel like grabbing for this one. I did use the yellows in this because they are from Lethal and I wanted to try the brand, but for the rest I didn't really end up using this palette. So I just used a couple of shades, but I didn't really do the look that I had in mind. Maybe I will do that later on. I just didn't really feel like doing that look this month. Then I also chose the Kaleidos Futurism 7 Sashimi City. This palette is a little bit hard to show sometimes because of the packaging, but this is the palette. And it's kind of like a warm brown with some shimmery shades. Some of the browns look a little bit more neutral, but definitely when I apply them to my eye, it leans really warm. This is another where I'm a little bit on the fence about it because I love the idea of this palette. I love the shimmers in there, but I feel like the shades of the mattes don't really work with my skin tone. Like when I apply these mattes to my eye, I just feel like it looks a little bit dirty. It doesn't look good on me. It looks a bit unflattering. And when I bought it, I thought maybe it would be like neutral enough to work. But I feel like it's just a tone that doesn't completely work with my complexion. So I really love the shimmers in here. I really love this duochrome that's kind of like a yellow with green. And this multichrome that's kind of like nude, orange and pink. I really love those, but then when I apply this one or this one or this one to my eye, I just feel like it doesn't work for me. And I really want it to work. I really like this color story. I really think it's such an interesting palette, but it just isn't my favorite as a whole. And I really try to make it work, but I have to be honest with myself and I don't feel like it's really flattering on me. I feel like there are some warm tones that work on me, like softer warm tones. For example, today I'm wearing quite a warm toned eye, but because it's a little bit softer, I feel like it works for me. But then when we have these really dark, kind of terracotta-y mattes, I don't feel like that looks good on me. And that's kind of what this palette provides, and I don't like it. So it's personal preference, and the more I use it, the more I feel that when I use it, I don't look pretty. But I will put up a picture and then you can see for yourself what you think about it. Then next up we have the Colourpop Going Coconuts palette. I use this quite a bit. This was kind of like my go-to palette this month when I didn't really know what to do, when I wanted to put on one of the more bright lip colors, and I just really love this palette. It's just so easy, it's so convenient. Really enjoyed the looks that I did with this one. I basically only have very positive things to say about this one. The only thing is you get a neutral look. That's what you get with this one, and most of the time I kind of use similar shades, but every time I use it I do really like the look. Then the Nabla Side by Side Nude palette. Really enjoyed the looks that I did with this one. Gives you a lot of options. I created more soft looks. I mostly used the two rows on the top. I really enjoyed doing more like cool toned soft looks. Really enjoyed using this palette. I do feel like I didn't use it to like its fullest potential, but my goal was to do a little bit more soft neutral looks, and that's what I did and that's what I got, and that's what this palette gave me. Then last up I tried the BH Cosmetics Hanging in Hawaii palette. This one I chose to see if I actually liked it. Before I tried it I was like, maybe it's time to move this out of my collection. I don't really reach for it. I don't really think I like it that much. But then I did a look with it and I was really loving it. I think the mattes in this palette especially work really well. So now I'm like, maybe I will keep it. Probably I will keep it because I do really like the quality in this one. So this one swayed me to the more positive side. So let's move on to the things I want to use in the month of April. And I mainly want to focus on glowy cheeks. Once again, I'm just really into glowy cheeks. It's really what I'm liking right now. It's really what I want to wear right now. And that's kind of like what I'm focusing on the most. I did pick out some eyeshadows, but I definitely want to give some more attention to the cheeks. I feel like I've definitely neglected cheeks for years, and now I'm really getting into blush. So that's kind of like the theme of this rotation, but I also kind of feel like that's a theme of basically every rotation that I've had so far. It's just what I'm into. So let's get into the highlighters. First up, I have this Nabla Skin Glazing highlighter in the shade Privilege. This one is one of my favorites, but I kind of didn't focus on it as much the past few months because I wanted to use some other products because I had been using this one so much. So it's about time that I give this one some more love. Then I also chose the Maybelline Knockout highlighter. This one was in my rotation like the month before last month, I think, but I just really love the effect this gives on the cheeks. Just this as a blush topper, I think it works so well. It looks so flattering. I love the champagne gold sheen that it gives, so this is going back into my Shop My Stash. So next up, I chose out two highlighters from H&M. One is this one that I haven't used in a while, and this one is the shade Sunbeam. And this is kind of like a peach to a pink duochrome, and it's so pretty as like a glowy blush. I also like using this as really like a highlight when I have more of a tan, but I felt like using this once again as more of a blush topper this rotation. This is a really nice one. I don't really like recommending these limited edition highlighters from H&M because I don't know where they are available. Like in the Netherlands they were available for a really long time, and probably they are still available, but I don't really like talking about them in a lot of videos, but I do really love these. So if you see the more colorful highlighters by H&M somewhere, then I definitely recommend them. I just don't talk about them a lot. This is such a beautiful shade. Another one that is also officially limited edition by H&M is the shade Aurora Blush. This is from the same collection as that Sunbeam one, and this is kind of like a lilac shade, but it definitely has a lot of warmth to it that makes it really wearable, and that's why I really like this one. This one is also a little bit darker, so I do like wearing this mostly when I have a little bit of a tan, but I kind of like meshing this together with my blush as well, so that's what I'm gonna do with this one. Now let's talk about the real blushes. The ones that aren't like a blush topper, but I'm actually gonna use as like a blush. So first up, I recently got this Clinique blush in the shade Melon Pop. I've wanted this for so many years. Okay, maybe not years, but I've wanted this for a long time. I wanted to buy this for quite some time, but I never could really find it because in the shades of these Cheek Pop blushes in the Netherlands are really limited, and I tried to order it from Look Fantastic UK, but they aren't allowed to ship it to the Netherlands. I thought it was really weird because they did have the shade, but I couldn't order it. But then I found another website where I could find it, so I got this Melon Pop shade, and I'm not officially gonna review this, I think, because it's just another shade in a formula that I've already talked about, but I can't wait to use this a lot more. Usually when I review things and I haven't reviewed them yet, like I'm still testing them out, they are makeup that I'm gonna use in the coming month, but I don't put them in my Shop My Stash because it's like, of course I'm gonna be using them, I'm gonna be testing them out. So if you know that I have new things that I haven't officially reviewed yet and you don't see them in my Shop My Stash, that's the reason. They are already included in my daily makeup and the things I'm gonna be using. So next up, I'm putting in this Hourglass blush in the shade Sublime Flush. This is just such a nice pink blush, a really nice warm pink flush with a bit of a sheen. Really enjoy wearing this one. Then another blush that I quite recently got but already reviewed, but I just want to use it a little bit more because it's just perfect for spring, is this one from the Black Cherry collection from MAC. This one is in the shade Room to Bloom. It's kind of like a glowy warm pink. It has a little bit of mauve in there, and I think this is just such a nice one for spring. Then a product that I'm putting in because I don't know exactly how I feel about this. I've had this little palette for such a long time. It's by Sleek and it's the blush by 3, Sweet Cheeks, and it has a cream blush. This one is a cream blush. It has a cream blush, it has a lilac blush, and it has a warm pink. I do really like the Sleek blush formula, but I'm not entirely sure if I need this in my life, if I want to keep this, how I feel about it. I especially want to try out this blush because now I'm getting into blush a bit more. I want to try some different formulas, and this is also a glowy blush, so I just want to see how I feel about it. I haven't used it for a long time, but for a long time I also wasn't really into blush. I always wore it, but I always wore the same color, and it was always just a neutral pink matte blush. But now I just want to mix it up more, so that's why I'm putting this one in to see how I feel about it. Then I'm also putting in this Nabla Close-Up Lip Shaper in number 1. This one I don't use a lot. I do really like this formula, but it's a little bit light for me, so I just want to see how I feel about it. I'm also putting this Nabla Shine Teary Gloss in the shade Stardust Radio in. I think this is just such a nice one for spring. It was also in my spring recommendations video, and I just want to wear this one. I just feel like wearing this one again. Then I also chose 2 Sephora liquid lipsticks. I chose the shade 85. This is quite a neutral toned down pink, but a really nice fresh bright shade. Then I also chose out the shade 70. This is kind of like a toned down peach with a little bit of pink in it. This is definitely a spring and summer shade for me. I don't usually use this one in like the winter because it's just a little bit more bright, but I do really love wearing this season, so that's why I chose this one. Then I chose this lipstick by MAC. This is a limited edition one, but I still see it around on some websites, so if you are interested, then maybe you can still find it. This is the shade A La Plage, and this is a sheer kind of bronzy shimmery lipstick, but it has some coolness to it, and I really like how it looks on me. It's quite flattering actually. It looks a bit scary in the tube, but then when I wear it, it just looks very kind of bronzy but cool toned enough to not look weird. Then another MAC lipstick that I chose is the shade Crème de la Femme. This is one of the more shimmery metallic lipsticks that they have, but it's not like super metallic. It's quite toned down. It's a cool tone pink, and I was thinking I could wear this one together with my Project Pan lipstick, the shade called Mare from MAC, and I feel like I could definitely use this to kind of top that one off, to like mix them together, to kind of spice things up with my Project Pan, to kind of make that one a little bit more different. And I just want to be a little bit more excited to wear my Project Pan lipstick, so that's why I chose this one. But of course I can also wear this one on its own. It's just a really nice pink shade. Then lastly, for the lipsticks, I chose out the Nabla Creamy Dreamy liquid lipstick in the shade Eve. This is just a really nice nude pinky peach and a nice creamy formula for when my lips are a little bit more dry. That happens sometimes because my allergies are just the worst, especially when it's sunny out. My lips get so dry, so that's why I put in a little bit more of a creamy, comfortable liquid lipstick. Now let's get into the eyeshadow. First up, I chose the Nabla Dreamy eyeshadow palette. I think this has really nice, more springy tones. I really like the more like cool tone shades in here, but also the more pinky ones. I think I could do some more neutral toned down looks with this one, but also definitely some warmer pinky looks. So that's why I chose this one. I think this will be a very nice palette for this month. Then I was inspired by the Melt Mary Jane palette to put in a more cool toned neutral palette, because I just want to play around with cool tone neutrals a bit more. I always love seeing palettes and I always love seeing releases with cool tone neutrals, and then I buy them and then I don't use them a lot. And I don't know what's going on with that. I just love them, but then I don't really wear them. Like, my go-to colors are more like pinky, peachy, a little bit more like soft, maybe like pastels or more brown. So I don't know, I don't really reach for the really cool tones a lot. So that's why I chose this one. This has some softer shades, but it also definitely has your cool tones. So I kind of want to play around with this one a bit more. This is one of the favorites in my collection, but I don't reach for it a lot. I don't know, I love cool tones, but there's just this particular part of cool tones that I kind of steer away from sometimes, while when I use them, I really love how the look turns out. I just feel like they are a little bit more harsh, and in the end I do love more pinky peachy colors on me. So next up, I chose out my Lethal Build Your Own palette. I used most of these shades at least once, but I just feel like I can use this more. I feel like there's more that I can do with this one, and I just want to like keep this in rotation, keep using this one, use some more of these pastel shades. I just think I have a lot of nice options here, a lot of nice mattes, and I can definitely pair this one with some more like special shimmers. So looking forward to using this one a bit more. Then the last palette, this is one of my favorites, but I haven't used it in a little while. I just think these colors are so pretty. There are so many options, so many beautiful mattes and shimmers. This is just a palette that I'm gonna use for more colorful looks in the coming month. I can't wait to use this one a bit more. I especially love these two rows over here, like the more blue, periwinkle blue ones, and then the more turquoisey greens. I just think these shades are so beautiful, and this palette definitely deserves some more love. So that was everything for my April Shop My Stash. I feel like I have more than enough makeup here. Once again, maybe I'm gonna be overwhelmed again. I feel like during the month I'm really overwhelmed, but then when I get to choose the products again, I get really excited, and then later on I kind of regret that. So we're gonna see how it goes, but of course it's not a problem if I don't use some of these things. It's just to inspire me and just to focus on some products a bit more. So that was everything for today's video. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe, and then I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!